on it.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on a what? Mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and a pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on it. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. My baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue en het toes wil ik white. Ik compie niet met jou, dat is zo voor mijn lijk. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why. Yeah, we live, but we destined to die. And you tell it on me, but I'm ending a lie. I'm a lie. En ik voel me net Memphis de paai. En ik jag op de koot in de scene. Moest eigenlijk rennen, we lopen misschien. En ik wil niet eens kijken, mijn ogen die zien. En ze reden niet genoeg, dat ik kopen we 10. Doof in een bean. Hier coast
Ron Newman, a championship's brewing. Sweet 16. The San Diego Sockers are back-to-back MASL Ron Newman Cup champions.
You think I'm jumping out the window? I got a move.
Tavoy Morgan says, I ain't done. He's got his 5th goal of the game in the 3rd quarter. For Childs, his header, goal! Childs bends to the far post, goal! It's Williams back to Pereira, his shot, saved by Pardo, the save of the year! And he's got Gutierrez, and Christian Gutierrez will shoot and score! Churras with a step to the middle, to the left foot, still open, shoots, he scores! Charlie fakes around a man, shoots, he scores! Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League, coming to you live on Twitch. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez back with you. This is Season 5, Episode 20 of Soccer's Overtime. We've reached the 20-episode mark for the season. That means we're getting close to the end. We're calling this one very simply Pardo for MVP. We're going to try and make the case tonight. Mr. Jimenez, I know you've been busy. I know I've been busy. How you doing? You back out from underwater?
I'm feeling like your cup that you had there in the beginning. I'm sure you're feeling the same way. Definitely dragging, but no, feeling good. Feeling good to be here again. Here we are, another Tuesday. These just keep coming quicker and quicker, man, it feels like. But I'm enjoying it. I think, we have 2 great games to talk about, 2 wins, 2 soccer wins, which is most important. And, continuing that streak, going into the playoffs. It's great. It's good to be back.
Should be a fun one this evening. Should be an eventful one this evening. On the show tonight, the Sockers beat Empire in a thriller, Monterrey in a grinder, and San Diego improves to 20-2. We'll recap both matches from a very exciting weekend of MASL action. I will make the case for why Boris Pardo should win this year's MVP and what he might be able to do to lock that award down. Our special guests tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to bring you the brain trust behind Villita FC. This is the team being entered into the soccer tournament in July with soccer's players and coaches. We mentioned it last week on the show. Tonight, General Manager Fuji Avdic and Team Manager Joel Rodriguez will join us with all the details for what should be a fun summer event. MASL news, playoff scenarios. We're going to break it down. We're going to head into this madcap final weekend of action. And in soccer's news, better stay tuned. Some major announcements surrounding our next season. That is all coming up on the show of record for the Major Arena Soccer League and the San Diego Sockers. This is Soccer's Overtime. Beyond the South Bay by Bobby Cressy is our theme song. It's drifting out into the ether. You can find it on Cali Native, available on iTunes. All right, Jerry. We got a lot. We got a lot to do. As usual, we got a lot to do, and it's a double recap show. Yeah. And I know that always, gets us a little behind the eight ball. Gets us going, but look.
Jump into it? Should we just jump into it?
Yeah, let's jump into it, man. Let's
do this.
Let's do it. Let's start things off with Friday. Sockers and Strikers, and I'd call this one the match of the year for the Sockers to date in terms of drama, in terms of excitement, in terms of a game that had a little bit of everything. I'd say Sockers Strikers round 6 was just as enticing and delicious as any of the previous 5. And as always, Jerry, as we see an early chance for Mohamed Ndiaye go wanting, getting Tavoy Morgan going early is always going to be a key for the San Diego Sockers. And he gets the first goal today after we see some of the back and forth. It was, as usual, a pretty defensive first quarter. Not a lot going on except for chances going wanting in the first 12, 13 minutes. But when you've got two goalkeepers as good as Boris Pardo and Chris Toth, you get games like this, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's super important that Tavoy start scoring early. But, try as they may, the Strikers and every other team in MASL will try to prevent Tavoy and have done a good job recently. Tavoy still manages to contribute one way or another, right? And in this game specifically, we get a dance. We always want to see Tavoy dancing. So, brings the first goal, and it's a great header right at me also. I was behind the net. Beautiful to see. We got a couple of angles of it for social media. It was great. And, here we are watching it. If you're listening, go back and watch it. If you didn't already see this goal, it was just great.
And this came right after the Sockers had gone on a power play and failed to score. It was literally as the fifth defender ran in that San Diego reversed the ball. So good stick-to-itiveness, although the Sockers didn't score on the power play. But just seconds later, it's the answer for Empire. And really, this is both started and finished by Mohamed Ndiaye, Jerry. He gets the big steal to start the play, and he gets the header goal to finish it off.
Yeah, Ndiaye there with that celebration. Look, this was a great goal also, and great pass there also to Ndiaye, who was able to finish it. Boris, there's nothing he could do there. He was on one end. Defense could have helped him out maybe a little bit on that play, but hey, they get the goal. Now it's 1-1, and we have a game.
Near misses were a huge part of the story all night long, and especially for the Sockers. They just didn't quite have the range exactly on. We saw so many. Jeff Hughes and I were joking on the broadcast that the Dana on Mission Bay got like a dozen visitors in terms of shots off of that dasher board just to the left of the eastern net over the course of this game. And as such, it remains a really close contest. Both goalkeepers playing extremely well. And once you get to the sixth meeting between these two teams, everyone knows one another. There are no surprises whatsoever. And I really felt that's how this game played out. It was also a very loosely called game in terms of very few whistles, very few cards in the match. So a game that does finally open up thanks to Juan Manuel Rojo. And I said on this call, Jerry, on the air, you might as well put his name on that strip of turf on that side of the field, because Rojo working the left side of the field, man, it's every game.
It's every game, and it's beautiful to see. And what a beautifully placed ball there off the left foot. Toth was thinking he was going to go a little bit lower. Was already down, and he puts it in the top right corner, just beautifully placed by Juan Manuel Rojo, as we're used to seeing, right in that same area. I mean, maybe we shouldn't be repeating that because they're going to write this down and highlight it in red, in the game notes, every team that we play.
So you're saying I shouldn't put a giant number 2 on each left wing with kind of like a runway strip, like little dynamic arrows pointing toward the net, because that's pretty much what we get from Rojo. Here we get the quick answer to start the third quarter for Empire, and this was really the story of this match to me, Jerry. The Sockers took 3 different leads to start this match, and every time Empire, one way or another, had a quick answer. In this case, it was at the very beginning of the third quarter. The other 2 times, it was immediately after San Diego scored. But I think that's what made this match what it was. The fact that every time San Diego got one up, right away, Empire scored.
Yeah, I mean, they took advantage of little mistakes here and there and were able to capitalize on them, and that's what Empire does. That they're a great team. I mean, we've seen them enough times to be able to say that these guys are good, and they will expose your weaknesses, and they were able to do that on these first 2 goals, and Tayo doing what he does, able to put it back in the net. I mean, but we keep going. But yeah, you're right. I think starting the third quarter, right, it was a lot of back and forth between these 2 teams, I would say.
I like Kay Vibbert in the chat saying, if you put a 2 down the strip, you'll need to put a 37 in the middle of that lane. It's runway 2-37.
Yeah.
I like that.
Perfect.
So 2-2 here, late in the third quarter. Boris Pardo, just another really, really solid match for San Diego. Even more so, of course, on Sunday when we get to our second set of highlights. We're getting late into the third quarter here, approaching the Felipe Gonzalez goal for 3-2. And man, Felipe continues his best season as a Socker with just consistent, aggressive, fearless play.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about Felipe. This season has just been amazing to watch him, and again has contributed in very important situations. This one, it took quite a while for it to get there, to get to the third goal, but here we have it. Felipe scoring that goal, and it's times like that. After a while, you're thinking, oh man, this is going to be a really, really tight game, and it sure was. But goal from Felipe made it feel a little bit better here in the third.
Just lovely build-up on this as well, and after you see later Gonzalez getting brought down
foul.
Earlier in that, and then to come back and have that shot, tremendous shot. However, as we get one more look at it, and of course Leo the assist setting him up right down the middle, once again, Empire answers, and literally within seconds with their third forward, Thiago Enrique, coming up with his steal there after he had just missed the shot. Steals it, has it right up the middle. Very little for Pardo to do about that one. To be honest, I think basically nothing for Pardo to do on all 6 of the goals conceded this weekend. I thought this was essentially a flawless performance in terms of there's so many times for a goalkeeper where there's literally nothing you can do, and there's an example of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's not much he could have done there. And, I mean, beautiful play from Thiago. I mean, what a control with the ball, right, at his feet. That was just great. I think, there's not much any defender could have done on that. I mean, that was just skill. And he was able to put it in a place where there's no one's going to get it out there. So, yeah, a great third goal, and here we go again, right, tied up 3-3. Yeah. I think it just kept going back and forth.
And then the controversy of this call, and this is one that it really took a few replays to get to the bottom of. And right here at this moment, you see people, piling up because Childs was trying to get off the floor. But Chris Toth is down. And when you watch this replay back, the initial thought from the officials is that Craig Childs either kicks or trips into Chris Toth. When you watch the replay back, I want you to keep an eye on number 70, Uzi Tayu. Because as is a point of fact, Uzi Tayu comes up and his left knee collides with the head of Chris Toth. It is Uzi's knee that hits Toth. Childs then falls over Toth's legs, falls down backwards, And I had somebody on Twitter saying, oh, no, he got the blue card for kicking someone on the ground. It's untrue. You can see it on that replay. The card is up as Childs hits the ground. So I really appreciated this penalty kill, Jerry, because it's one of those, like I like to say, ball don't lie situations. You get a rough penalty, you kill that penalty.
Yeah, for sure. And there we saw also, I mean, just plenty of opportunities for the Sockers going into the fourth. Just the ball would not go in, man, but plenty of chances there. Tavoy just a little too far back to reach that first shot. And then you see Craig Childs take a shot. It hits the post. We continue to see that for a little bit in the fourth. And the back and forth continues, right? It was such a good game to watch, man. And then, unfortunately, Empire Strikers, I mean, we have to say, King Tayu had himself. Is he still King Tayu? I think he is, man. His numbers are showing it. What a great showing in this game specifically. I think he really showed up. And if you let Tayu score goals, we know the Strikers are much more powerful. And it happened this game, and here it is. Yeah. Look at that. Oof.
I called this one on the air a man's goal. I'll stand by that, having watched it several times. And, of course, they threw the replay trying to look for a foul here. And I was doing my best to try and find a foul, and there's just no foul there. It's strong play all the way through. It's two tough-nosed players going head-to-head, shoulder-to-shoulder, side-to-side. And Tayu to get that turn from beyond the yellow line, that level of attack and goal, reminded me about several of the goals he used to have back in 2016, 2017 when he was with Sonora. You know, it was that type of strike. It was dynamic. It was difficult to defend. So, you know, big credit to Frank, who had 2 goals and an assist. And just like you said, anytime you get Frank over 1 goal, now you're like, okay, maybe this is an Empire game. You know, maybe this is an Ontario game when you get to that level. And it played out that way for a long time, man. And you know, we talked about it last week and the week before. Mo NDI on Tavoy Morgan. It's one of the big matchups in this league. And whether it's bear hug, whether it's becoming the backpack over his shoulders. I mean, Mo is a physical defender, but you know what? It's what it takes to try and stop number 9.
100%. And I can't say enough about, look, Tavoy Morgan can hold his own. Mo Ndiaye is just a super strong defender, right? And he puts his weight. He puts his weight on people, and you know, he's just a strong guy, very physical player, and we see him, and he's also just very passionate, I can say, about the game. But one thing I will say about him after the game, he was just a super nice guy and somebody that the players could talk to, and even everybody in the Seventh Man that had a sign up that had anything to do with him, he appreciated that, you know, and he enjoys that. And I think for him, he's putting on a show too, but he's also very passionate of it, and you could see it. I mean, 4-3 up into a certain point. I mean, when it comes to games against Empire, you can't help but start feeling worried, Craig.
Until the moment of equalization, Golden Gutierrez, and you saw it on the highlight moments before, but this whole game turned on a Robert Palmer attempted clearance with 23 seconds remaining, where Robert had run up and down the field, made like an 80-yard run, got back behind a loose ball, and honestly should have ended the game for Empire. Had the chance to clear it down the field a second time and just put everything to bed. And as he turned on the ball, you could hear it in my voice in the call, Jerry. I'm about to say Palmer's going to win the game, and then he kicks it into the bench. And right then I'm like, oh, the Sockers are going to win the game. And then they come up with this screwy play with no left-footed kickers and Leo kicking the ball left-footed on the right side, and it doesn't work either. And out of all of this, a goal. That's soccer's magic right there.
Manages to get it on his right foot, right? And Golden Gutierrez just always happens to be in the right place at the right time, and this was a perfect example of that. He had to take maybe a couple of steps forward to get to the ball once he saw the bounce, but I think he saw the bounce and he said, I know where it's going. Moved there, put it in the back of the net. And here we are now going into overtime. Man, these games against Empire are becoming so much fun, and I think this was a discussion between fans that maybe they haven't won as many games against us, you know, even in their era as the Fury, but I mean, it's slowly but surely becoming what I would call honestly a rivalry because how fun the games are. Not so much because we are close to each other in wins against each other, right? But more because of the type of game that we're playing against each other. They're just so much fun to watch. And here we are, overtime.
Yeah, Diabreu with the big shot off the set piece there, and Pardo with his biggest save of overtime. A very good chance for the strikers right there. Soccer's defense just came through with critical interventions all night long. It was really great to see. Mitchell Cardenas almost had himself one on 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And, of course, when we get to the winning goal, as you know, and Christoth had a tremendous game. He's just playing at the top of his form right now, which is what makes Empire so difficult, is because, look, honestly, the Sockers get chances against the strikers all the time. They get twice as many chances as the strikers usually do. The difference is that, there's two great keepers on both sides, and so a percentage of those shots don't go in. Working our way toward match winner, and it comes in a classic example, Jerry, of Soccer's team play. Identifying the back post. That's where Juan Manuel Rojo was open, and then Rojo punts it into the middle on a Wallace Scora, and there's Tavoy Morgan for a tap-in goal and the win at 5-4. Classic teamwork. Don't be always forcing yourself to be the hero. Leave it for somebody close, and Morgan just gets into a scoring position for his easiest goal.
Yeah, absolute team goal, and absolutely a Soccer's goal. Something that we're used to seeing, right? That is why the goals are so spread throughout our club. It's no one is selfish in this team. It's all selflessness right here, and Tavoy happens to be where he needed to be. I didn't even realize it was him. He ran off so fast. I thought it was somebody else. I thought he was already in the middle. Like, he immediately put it in and runs off and celebrates. And, man, I love seeing Tavoy dance. So that was a great finish. Pure Soccer's magic. I see some people mention it here in the chat. It's a beautiful way to end this game, and what a fantastic fun time that was. If you weren't there and you're missing out on these games, what are you doing, man? These is the type of stuff that this game and a recap doesn't, make it justice. I think if you were in there and you heard how loud the fans were on the night, a lot of Fury supporters there as well, and it was just a really, really fun time overall. Glad we took that win.
Great win, great match. My favorite part is what you're seeing right here. Nobody with fake headbutts, nobody with fists in the face, and instead you see regular congratulation, you see regular discussion, and that's what we love to see. There's so much tension between these clubs when they're on the floor. We know how many of them know one another off the floor. To see it not end in kind of a silly way, which had been the last three matches. It had been 3 in a row that something happened after the final whistle. With how tight this one was, I think the tightest of all the matches that these two clubs have played this season, to have it finish in such a classy way, that it was really appreciated. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. I think there were, as you said, the word tension. There's a lot of tension in between these two teams. Obviously, this league is always full of fun drama and things to follow, right? And I think that these two teams, when they play each other, there's a lot of that too. Luckily, at this game, I think at the end of it, they were absolute professionals, and a good ending to it. I know that they definitely want to get that win or that loss back, and they can't wait to play us again, I'm sure. It was a good time, and like you said, I'm glad that it ended the way that it did.
There's one other thing to say about Friday, and if you tuned into Sunday's English language commentary, you heard me talk about this a little bit in the second quarter as well. But it wasn't a perfect night at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, and that's because there was some fan behavior at the match on Friday that was definitely unacceptable. There were a couple, 3, I believe, fans in total that were ejected, escorted away from the stadium. They were folks sitting around the strikers' bench, and of course there are some fans who are huge fans that are always in our chat that were in there, and it was not Gabe, it wasn't Chris Funk, it wasn't these guys, but there were people in there making comments. We got several, and it wasn't just one. I'll tell you that for sure. Comments from patrons, people who were sitting there, people who paid for really good seats, that were very disappointed in the language that was used by some Sockers fans toward Strikers players, comments that in some cases could have definitely crossed the line into territory of racism or homophobia. And we are and have been taking this really seriously, identifying the people who were ejected, not letting them come back into that situation again. And I just want to say in general, whether you're in the supporter section or whether you're in the stands, we want you to support this club. We know of the passion that entails. Both Jerry and I have spent plenty of time in supporter sections. We know how it goes, but you can do that without getting personal to the players. You can do that without crossing a line and taking it into personal territory. And I know Chris Toth, as Kay Vibbard was saying, wasn't too thrilled with Section 19 for some of the things he was hearing. And I know for a fact Mo NDI was not happy with the things he was hearing near the bench. But neither were Sockers fans. And that's, as opposed to all this tribalism and like, oh, well, hey, we were picking on them, so it's okay. Like, no. We can be classy as a fan base. We can do that. We want passion. We want rowdiness, but we don't want it to go over the line. So that's a message for everybody. And I want supporter behavior to be in the supporter section. I know there are people who pay really good money to be down by that visiting bench with the purpose of kind of being antagonistic to that group. We understand it. It's got to stay within the boundaries. And it's two boundaries, right, Jerry? It's the boundary of the players and respect for those players. It's also the boundary of understanding there are other people in that high-rent district in the arena that aren't in your group. If there's a kid, if there's a young couple, if there's a family in front of you and you're honking a voo-voo in their ear all night long, we're going to lose that fan. And they're not going to come back. So it's just something to process, I think, and we need to work and even do a better job as a club to make sure we're a family-friendly atmosphere and that we keep that edge without it going over the top.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I'm not going to add much more than just to, mirror what you just said. Please keep it classy, guys, especially ourselves. I think, we are a championship team. Let's act like true champions, and that is with respect, especially in the stands. You can take it to a certain level and give the players a hard time, but it gets to a point when you make it personal, you start saying, bad words and things when children are around. That's really not cool. Not cool at all. And so let's try to keep that in mind when we're there. Be careful with the drinks. I'm sure that doesn't help much either. But, at the end of the day, the MASL is a huge family, and we want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable and has a safe space to come and enjoy a game. If you're there and you're, don't care about anybody else around you, then maybe you shouldn't be there. I hope that comes through the right way. If you have any questions or concerns, please always reach out to us. We're always here to listen. We want to make sure that the arena is a safe space for everybody, that it's a place where everybody feels good and welcome, and it doesn't have to, deal with that type of behavior that we saw at the last game. So that's it.
All right, let's move to Sunday's match. And before you hit the reel, I got to tell this story, Jerry. And I know Tony teased it on Two Balls and a Mic last night as well. But as you know, we did an English language broadcast at Calafino on Sunday, like you and I have done in the past. And you had just worked the wave and been cranking all weekend. So Tony was so kind as to step in for you again and bring up the equipment and set up. And normally, our friend Jake, who runs the Calafino Sublimate Lounge, will come out even on a Sunday and, just open up the place for us, right? Turn on the lights, open up the place for us. So I get a call Sunday morning from Jake. And Jake had a rare opportunity the day before. He had some tickets fall to him for Taylor Swift in Las Vegas. And so he went to Las Vegas, and he took with him Adrian, who's kind of his number two at Calafino, right? So there was no one to let us in on Sunday. But never fear, Jacob had thought of me. And so Jake had taken a key to open up the lounge, and there's a potted planter outside the lounge, and he buried the key in the planter for me to find.
Oh, gosh.
And then, okay, and you know, find the key and get into the lounge. So I get there, and when he told me this, I thought he had just put the key in the planter, you know, like maybe stuck it in halfway or whatever. But like, I just thought he had put the key there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to look. There's going to be a key. There's no key. And I'm just looking. I'm kind of poking at the dirt and poking around. I can't see a key. So I text him. I'm like, did you like bury the key? And I sent it with like that sweating, laughing emoji. Like, I mean, you didn't really do this, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I buried the key. It's by this plant. So Jerry,
Oh my gosh.
this became for me like the Amazing Race task, you know, like roadblock. There is a key hidden inside this potted plant. Can you find it? And that soil got extremely well aerated by me because I'm going through, and I mean, I can't find this thing. First, I'm just going through with my hand. I'm digging in, kind of clumping and turning. I don't find it at all. I go through like an entire half of the planter where it's supposed to be. I don't find it. So then I take the planter and I bring it down to the ground and I start lifting out clumps of dirt and then sifting them in my hands and like crumbling them through in my hands on the ground to find it. And I mean, I'm telling you, I went through half the dirt in this damn planter and I finally find this key. And I come up, I mean, my hands are just completely black, completely covered and caked in dirt under my fingernails, dirt everywhere. I've got the key. The key's ridges are completely caked in dirt, right? Get into the lounge, clean up my hands, come out, and put the dirt back in the planter. But of course, there's like a bunch of dirt on the ground now, right? I'm like, I don't want Jake to come back and there's just a bunch of dirt in front of the welcome mat.
What do you mean? But
So
that's his fault. That's him.
Kind of it is.
Jake, why would you do that, man? Look, I love you, dude, but come on, man.
So then I go into the back storage area and I find a broom, right? I find a push broom. I'm like, you know, I'm going to clean up the loose dirt. So I go out there and I've got my push broom and I'm pushing the loose dirt. And that's right when Tony is in the parking lot, like getting out of his car with his stuff. And he's like, oh, wow, Craig, you really do it all. You even sweep.
Were you also bartending that night, or?
Right? I mean, yeah, I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe a little.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So when I left, I buried that bad boy right back in the planter.
Take that, Jake.
Like, go find it, Jake.
Jake from Sublimit Lounge.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So that was with
hilarious.
that fun. Big thanks to Tony Sanchez for coming down. English language broadcast. I'm sure we've got at least one more of these coming up, if not two, depending on how the playoffs shake out. So let's head to Arena Monterrey. Sockers and Flash, and only a partially rotated lineup, Jerry. I was quite surprised by this one. Pardo's still playing. The guys who sat out of this one were Craig Childs and Felipe Gonzalez. They got the night off. And then, of course, because it's a trip to Mexico, Charlie Gonzalez and Guerrero Pino were both out. So 4 key starters missing, but really only 2 rotated out of the lineup.
Yeah, no, it was really good to see this different, somewhat different lineup, right? I mean, it's all still the usual suspects. It's still the same guys that we all know, just missing a couple guys. But it was going to be an interesting night, especially being in Monterrey against Monterrey at Arena Monterrey. It was, you know, a beautiful place. And, yep, here we go now. The guys again in white see themselves visiting Monterrey. It was going to be a fun match regardless. I knew it right off the bat, especially after I looked at who was missing.
And as you see in the early going, Boris Pardo just showing up against a Monterrey team that was hungry. And the first goal comes from outside. Second quarter, Mitchell Cardenas gets the long ball to go home for his third goal of the season. Defender golazos would be the story of the second quarter.
I mean, what a golazo from Mitchell Cardenas. He puts it perfectly right on that left-hand corner, bottom corner, and like just bomb of a shot with his right foot. Boom. Just there's nothing no one could do on that shot.
Yeah, and I was also surprised, speaking of lineup surprises, that they played the kid, the 21-year-old Carlos Hernandez, in net instead of the veteran Diego Reynoso. Not that Hernandez did anything other than play great. He played fine all day long. Nonetheless, it was a little bit of a surprise for me. Now, we're getting close to the Monterrey goal, and when we talk about a flawless game, this is a true definition of a flawless game for a keeper, because you see all these shots in this highlight reel, Jerry. These are shots on goal. These are shots on target. These are shots that are ticketed to go in that Pardo is stopping. When we get to the two goals that he actually concedes in this match, they are the definition of unstoppable. Goals that no human and no computer could stop. Here's the first one. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's no way.
Walter Iov. I mean, that's a World Cup goal right there. That's a World Cup goal.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get a commercial pop up, you know what, Eddie? I don't know what you're doing. If you turned on the having commercials on your videos now, but it's messing me up, man.
Oh, Eddie's trying to get a little bit of that extra coin,
Nah, thank you to
get
Eddie
a few
for
bucks per replay.
Thank you to Eddie for putting these together. Obviously, I'm just joking, but we're back. Yeah, I mean, just a fantastic game from Boris Pardo. And he was just flawless. This goal from Iov, I think I just said about Mitchell Cardenas, but this goal, there's absolutely nothing anyone could do. Just beautiful goal. And well-deserved goal, I would say, for Monterrey on this one. I think, Pardo was really probably giving them anxiousness, like, what is going on here up to this point? Like, is anything going to go in? And, yeah, took a little while.
I don't know if Luka Doncic could have stopped this shot. I mean, like, add 9 inches to the keeper. I don't think you stop that shot. It's one of the best shots I've seen the entire year for anybody. And 1-1 is where this match winds up at the end of the first half, despite the best efforts of San Diego along the way here in this second quarter. Some great opportunities, and right there, Tavoy almost had one just ricochet
great save
off of himself.
Yeah, great save from the Monterrey goalkeeper there, too. I mean, one-handed, saw it. He was on his back pretty much and, leaned over and stopped it. But, barely. Tavoy almost having that goal there.
No doubt. Soccer's had a few top-of-the-arc opportunities that came up wanting. That was the spot where I felt like as we get to the Pollo goal, there's Tavoy again being unselfish. And, it's a really different thing when Craig Childs is out of the lineup, Jerry, because that's the guy who is the point guard for every single one of those set pieces. And that switched to Leo. It also switched to Tavoy's responsibilities. And I thought Tavoy, to have 2 assists, I mean, look at him just getting manhandled there. And he's still able to get the pass away for the Pollo tap-in. Easily, they could have stopped this play for a foul against Tavoy. Nonetheless, they come, Sockers get this one for 2-1. Beautiful team goal. And then goal 3, which winds up being the match winner. Hey, let's just put Big Rojo back in there. Big Rojo's good for a goal a match when you play him in the back and let him take a crack. This kid's got one of the 5 best shots in the MASL, period.
Yeah, first touch goal. It was just something that Big Rojo's, we've just seen him do it, before. And there it is. There's, again, beautifully placed shot. I don't even know what that defender for Monterrey is complaining about. I'm not sure that there's much that the goalkeeper could have done. It was actually more on him, I would say, if you wanted to blame anybody for that goal. But, yeah, Ismael is just such a fantastic player, and I think you've sung his praises quite a bit. I would also mirror that. He's just doing a great job right now, and he's coming in when we need him.
I don't know. Could you possibly back it up 20 seconds? Because we're talking about Ismail. The biggest play of the game for Ismail was the very previous highlight. This you saw. Back 5 more seconds because it's a blocked shot by Rojo on a really good chance. This has Boris Pardo out. See Rojo leaning out there, sacrificing his body. That had Boris all the way out to give him a high five. I tell you what, we know about the offensive Ismail Rojo, but when he starts putting his body into it defensively, Jerry, that's when he's going to become that all MASL level player that I believe is his ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And he's a strong guy. And, man, who was number 31 came in, and there you see him kind of pushing each other around. And I feel like that was a little unnecessary, but that was built up from, what was happening before that. He ends up getting a card, correct, on this play?
Yes. Yeah, he does get a card on this play. And this is another one that I would call ball don't lie because the player is definitely doing a little bit of lying right there. But the ball will not, Monterrey will not get a goal on this power play because Soccer's defense comes up big and Boris Pardo comes up big again. Kelsey Marsh asking the question, who are the other 4 hardest shots in the league? Man, that's a great question. That would be a really fun question to open up and even open up to some players in terms of who has the absolute hardest shot, both on our team and on other teams. Here's a hard shot. Eric Tovar putting it inside a mailbox right here for 3-2. And this is what I talk about. Neither one of the goals that Boris allows here could be stopped by anyone short of Dr. Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four just extending his body over the entire net. Like a tarpaulin. Like, how do you stop this? Near post, he had maybe, and that's true, Eddie. This was a power play. What did he have? A quarter inch gap to put this in. It's a literally inch perfect shot.
Yeah, nothing that Boris could do on that one either. But yeah, our old friend Eric Tovar there showing his skills, and he's been adding a lot, contributing a lot to the Monterrey team, and you saw it there.
6 attackers for Monterrey. Soccer's almost break it shorthanded. Golden. Great save by Danny Villela. Right at that moment, like, oh, hang on. That was supposed to be a goal. That was Golden at the end of the game. Supposed to be a goal. Villela saves it, and now Boris Pardo saves it. Save of the year. Regular season save of the year candidate. Boris Pardo. Post to post with 22 seconds remaining to stop the header from Pantera. And that's going to be the last gasp for Monterrey in this one. They're going to get the ball down the floor one more time. But that was the chance. That was in. That was an equalizer. That was a point for Monterrey. And instead, it's Pardo coming up with the play. Amazingly, they reviewed it, trying to think that somehow the ball went in. But honestly, at that point in the match, there's nothing to lose shooting your replay there because you only have a couple of seconds left, right? Yeah, so they tried. They failed. Sockers win this one. Boris Pardo, 14 saves on 16 shots. And as we showed you, the 2 that are scored are 100% unstoppable rockets. So that's a match, plain and simple. You don't bring Pardo, you don't win the game.
Yeah, there's no chance. Boris has been just fantastic this entire season, and that game was just a beautiful work of art by Boris. I think you can't help but really appreciate what kind of a goalkeeper Boris is, and this game really put on display that. I mean, the type of saves that he had, sure goals that he was able to get out of there. And I mean, you have to give shout out to the rest of the defensive team too. Mitchell Cardenas had a great save there, as we mentioned, Ismail Rojo. But Boris is that solid brick wall in the back that you cannot get a ball past him unless you find some magic and honestly a little bit of luck, right, with perfectly placing that ball. Tovar, like you said, how much space did he really have? He was able to put it there. And then the IOV goal, I mean, it just bounced off that top post perfectly to where it went back instead of going out towards the field. So, I mean, Pardo for MVP, man. I'm on that train right now. I think we all are. He's just too good to deny, man. You just cannot deny it. And I know you said in the beginning of the show you're going to make a case for Pardo. So I want to hear it. I want to hear it because I think we all agree with you.
Absolutely. Now, if you tuned in to the English language broadcast yesterday, at the very end of the match, you pretty much heard me go on a 5-6 minute diatribe about this. So I'm going to repeat some of that. I'm going to omit the part where I was mentioning a player who was not playing as having played. So we'll clean it up just a little bit. But so many times in the last 3 years, Jerry, as the Sockers have dominated the MASL, and I'm really talking about, 18-19, 21-22, 22-23, the Sockers haven't won the MVP in any of these years that they are the runaway number one team in the league. And the thing we hear more often than not was or is, well, you guys are so deep. The Sockers are so deep. They're so talented. How could you say that there's a most valuable player because you guys lose or you guys win with half your team away? We've seen the depth of this team over and over. And I have to agree on one level. You can take almost any field player off the San Diego Sockers, and the Sockers can still win. The Sockers have won without Childs. The Sockers have won without Tavoy. The Sockers have won without Charlie. The Sockers have won without Leo. The Sockers have won without Brandon. They have won without Pino. They have won without Serta. They have won without Pino and Serta. They have won without Charlie and Brandon. This team has the talent and the depth in the field group to survive anyone, and it does make it hard for any of those players to stand out as MVP. This team cannot survive without Boris Pardo. And Boris Pardo starts every game for the San Diego Sockers. He is one of only 4 keepers in the league, Jerry, at the 22-match complete mark that has started 22 of 22. Okay? Now, I did the stats for our game notes for the other 3 keepers. This is through 21 matches, all right? But Boris Pardo, 19-2. Andrew Coughlin, 11-9-1. Danny Waltman, 11-9-1. And now he's 11-10-1. William Bonahene, 13-7-1. Goals against. This is just the guys who have played every game, all right? Goals against. Pardo, 394. Coughlin, 599. Waltman, 598. Bonahene, 588. Save percentage. Boris, 714. Coughlin, 671. Waltman, 694. Bonahene, 689. If you play every match as a goalkeeper, you sacrifice your body, you sacrifice your health, and you sacrifice your statistics. All the other keepers who have started every match have a goals against average of 6. Boris is the only keeper in the whole league with a goals against under 4 who has played over 1,200 minutes. And it's the minutes and starts that fans, and I don't even care about fans, that MASL broadcasters who are going to become MASL MVP voters never pay attention to. And when I hear people, which I have the last couple of weeks, go, well, Boris isn't the best keeper. I think Vanzella is a better shot stopper. Or Boris isn't the best keeper. Toth is more athletic, this or that. Boris starts every single game. He starts every game. William Vanzella hasn't started every game this year. Mike Zierhofer's played, I think, 8 games this season now. 7 or 8 games for Baltimore. He started twice this last weekend. And that's great. Goalie load management is smart. Pardo's not doing that. He has been the Iron Man for this team. San Diego's not developed, really, Xavier to be in a position to just step in and be able to handle this. Like, Boris has the position on lock. Nobody is close to him in terms of his importance to his particular team. And I think posting up every single match at goalkeeper, marshaling the defense, and allowing this team to groom Xavier in the wings instead of putting him into the fire. All of this stacks up for Boris Pardo. I think his numbers just can't be compared, Jerry, to the guys who have started 18, 16, 17 matches in the league when he's going all the way.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that Pardo is absolutely the, the reason that this club is where it is. The reason that we have won as many games as we have won. And if you really look at it as of late, the league has not really put the respect on goalkeepers that they need to. I think that this league is something that relies on good goalkeeping for it to be fun. Otherwise, how not fun would that be, right? And players like Boris Pardo, and you look at the numbers, I mean, he's on top of everything. Yeah, and you're going to look and make it. If you really don't want to do any research and you really haven't spent a lot of time watching the games, that's fine. Then go vote for, Nick Pereira. I'm sorry, because that's the easiest way out. Nick definitely deserves also a look because of those numbers. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, if you're not watching these games, then you're going to look at numbers and that's it. But if you've looked and thought about how important a goalkeeper is, Boris is the most important goalkeeper in this league. He's the most important in this club. And I do believe, and I agree with you, I think that he should be the MVP this season. He is the MVP for the Sockers. I think we can all agree on that. He should also deserve, he definitely deserves the recognition from the league as the most valuable player of the entire league.
Just going back, Jerry, for the last 5 seasons, okay? The league MVP one time in the last 5 seasons has gone to a player from the best team in the league. And that was the COVID season when it went to Ian Bennett on Florida. But Bennett, of course, was at the top of the scorers table. 5 straight seasons, and I think I can go back and I think it might actually be 9 straight seasons. The Golden Boot has just won MVP in the MASL. The scoring leader wins MVP. Last season, the MVP came from the 8th place team in the league, Ian Bennett. Well, what would they do without Ian Bennett? They were 500. They were 500, okay? Are you saying if you take away Ian Bennett's goals, they would have not won a single match? I don't think that's the case. The year before that, Jerry, we talked about 2021. The year before that, Frank Taillou won the MVP. He was on the 3rd place team in his division. He won the MVP. The year before that, 2018-19, Nick Pereira won MVP. Nick Pereira was on the 4th place team in his division, but he had the most points. And the year before that, 2017-18, it went to Frank Taillou on Empire, not leading the league, 3rd place team, led the league in points. So all this league does basically is pick out the scorer on a mid-range, mid-table team that puts the most points up and then gives that player the award for being the best player in the league. There's an award for being the scoring leader. It's called scoring leader. Like, it's got its own trophy. There's an award for goals leader. It's called Golden Boot. You get that thing. MVP should be the most valuable player. And I will always say, and I will die on this anthill, I go NBA style. Every year, the MVP candidate should begin with the question, who is the best player on the best team? Who is the most important player on the best team? And if that player isn't the MVP, I think you have to make the case for why they aren't the MVP. Boris Pardo is the MVP of this league. He's the most valuable player. He is the linchpin of the defense. Kay Vibbard brings up a great point here. I want to address this. He says, the only devil's advocate point I can make is that soccer's defenders shut down the opposition, so Boris does not make as many saves or face as many shots as the rest of the league. Sure. Who organizes that defense? Who gets his players in position? Who's the vocal leader at the back of the defense that is setting things up properly? He's not just back there with a binky in his hand waiting for the ball to be stopped. You know, he's the organizer of that. He deserves at least partial credit for the number of shots he faces. And yes, he does have good defenders behind him, but as Marlisha brought up earlier in the chat as well, that often leads to a situation where he as a keeper isn't as locked in as the other keeper who's seeing more shots, seeing more action. Sometimes he has to wait 15 minutes and then make the save of the match. And here's the last thing I'll say. And I know this isn't going to happen because I know our coach and I also know our very stubborn Queens goalkeeper. The best way, in my opinion, strategically, the best way Boris Pardo could win MVP is to not play this week. Is to just sit out these two matches. Sit out. He doesn't have to play another minute to be MVP of the league. He does not have to play one more snap, so to speak. He doesn't have to play one more kick of the ball to be MVP of this league. And if he just chilled for a week, got healthy, got in form, got fit, stayed a practice player, give Xavier 2 games of reps, I think you're going to not only get a fresher Boris for the playoffs, I think you're going to make a pretty good case of why he's the most valuable player. As you see the Soccer's defense try to do it without Boris Pardo. I don't ever want to miss Boris Pardo, but starting him every game is a risk, man. He's 39 years old. The Soccers have clinched everything, and I think cynically it would be the best MVP case of all time. Rest him. Sit him down. Give X some time, and let's see what happens, man. And if the Soccers do give up 5-6 goals, you're going to see.
I don't agree with you. I don't think that that's in the DNA of the Soccers at all. I think that Boris is the kind of person, and I think you're right. He's not. That's not something that he would ever do. He'd rather just play and show his skill and show what he can do, rather than just let the numbers speak. I am speechless, and you see how everybody in the chat right now is.
I know.
Really hating.
I didn't think I was going to make a popularity contest with this, but I'm just telling you, that's what I would do. I wouldn't have sent him to Monterrey. I mean, nothing against him, but why are we doing anyone else any favors? I just want this dude to be healthy. Now, Kelsey has the best argument of anybody, Jerry, because Kelsey is making the trip from Wisconsin to see the match on Thursday. And she says if Boris doesn't play on Thursday, we will officially be in a fight, Craig. So, I mean, look, I'm not the coach, and the coach never listens to me. So,
thank God. Imagine that. No, but look,
I understand.
At the end of the day, it is not in the Soccer's DNA to not put your best foot forward, the best players. Boris is the best player. He is going to play. I don't think unless he chooses to take a break, that's not going to happen. And he's not choosing that. I don't see that happening. It is not in the DNA of the Soccers. The whole point of the sport of any sport, actually, you know what? I'll take that as any sport, is to win games, regardless of where you are. And the Soccers take that very, very seriously. They just want to win, man. They just want to win.
They do, but listen, I think our friends at Two Balls and a Mic have it right, though. I mean, I agree with their side of the fence. The only team that can beat the Soccers are the Soccers. They don't need to risk any legs or hands going into the postseason. I want our team to be healthy and fresh. We clinched with 4 games to go. Why do we have to act like we're fighting for every point in the league? We've already gotten all the points that matters. Okay, look, you know me. I'm a scenarios guy, right? Like, I think through it all. Him going down is the only thing that's going to scare Soccers fans, is if Boris Pardo was injured. in any way, shape, or form. That's why I'm fine with take advantage of what we've done. We've earned it. I mean, we've earned it. Why don't we use it? We've earned it.
Yeah, I don't think they
No?
see it that way. I don't think Boris sees
No?
it that way.
No, he doesn't. I know.
From the side of injury, I see that, but don't be putting that into the. I almost said a better word. Don't put that into the universe. Okay, we do not need that.
No, I don't want to put anything into the universe. I want to put X more into the universe. I just want to give it, give a minute. Give the kid a start. Give
You
my
should
kid
come out to
Horacio a
Soccer's 2
start.
games. How about that?
Yeah, fair. Well, they're eliminated.
Well, you should have come to games,
I did, as you know.
and you still can't get enough of Xavier. I'm sure he's gonna
Still
love
can't
to
get
hear this.
Still can't get enough. Still can't get enough.
Xavier's going, yeah, man, tell him, I'll play. Look, man, we're in a
Incredible,
really, really interesting time in the soccer's history. I think if you guys really think about it, where we can have these conversations of like what we can afford and can't afford to do, and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, we've earned it." We haven't played, Craig. We didn't earn nothing. They did, and so it's gonna really.
The team earned it. The team earned it.
It's
We're extensions of the team.
Of course, absolutely, and I think that it's good that we have, and that's why we have these conversations. We don't play the sport, and I hope that everybody here knows that these are complete opinions from two people that, first of all, Craig has a lot more experience and he thinks everything through. I just talk out of, my mouth. So it's one of those things where I hope that everybody here understands that we're just giving you all different perspectives, and some perspectives may not be the right ones always, but it's really cool to just soak it in right now, guys. We're in a really good place as a organization, as a club, as fans, to be able to watch such a beautiful team play at home, and now we're gonna get to really watch them at home throughout the playoffs. It's gonna be amazing. So, yeah, man, it's just such a good time, and I think we can all agree we just want Boris to be Boris, and to be there when we need him. And I know he will be, and he's gonna be there this weekend playing against Milwaukee, and then again against Tacoma. Okay, that's what's gonna happen.
I know that's what's going to happen. I know that's what's going to happen. That's why I bring it up. I know what's going to happen, but we got to think this through. We got to think this stuff through. All right. Is our guest online?
Yes.
Let's bring in our guest. We only have one guest, Jerry, so you can hang out, man. Hang
No,
out.
I'm not gonna hang out. I'm gonna let you guys hang out.
All right. Cool.
So
we've talked about it. All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
We talked about it before, but the Soccers are going to be, or several Soccers, many Soccers, are going to be participating in a brand new tournament this summer called the Soccer Tournament. They'll be playing for a newfound club called Villita FC, and joining us right now is Fuji Avdic, joining us, GM of Villita FC, and our guest on Soccer's Overtime. Hi, Fuji. Craig Elston here. Thanks so much for some time
up, Craig?
this evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Sure can, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing incredible, man. Really excited to get the opportunity to kind of spread the word about this. So let's dive right into it, because we've got some of the most diehard Soccers fans in the country on our chat right now. What is the soccer tournament? How did this thing come together?
So originally, I think it came together. ESPN for 3 years now, I'd say, or more at least, has done a tournament called the TBT, which is the basketball tournament, which I think ESPN had a great turnout with. A lot of famous people got involved. I think it all started with Chris Paul, was one of the founders of it. And I think that's how it kind of got started. And then with the World Cup last year and the soccer in America really kicking off, I think the TBT organization thought it would be a good idea to spread out into the soccer world. And believe it or not, they had a greater turnout than they ever did for basketball. I think that within the first few weeks, they had over 1,000 teams applied to be a part of this.
Wow.
and they selected 32 teams to compete for $1 million prize, winner take all.
Incredible. All right. So when you're talking about the tournament, what is the format here? My understanding is it's mini football. Is that correct?
Yes, it is 7v7 mini football. Correct.
And for fans who don't know, mini football approximates indoor football. The one difference being, for fans who watched the 2019 WMF World Cup, you'd remember no boards, right? So you've got out of bounds, you've got
Yes.
throw-ins, etc.
Correct. That is correct.
All right. So now we know we got
And
7v7. Go ahead.
and one other thing, yeah, they're changing the. So a lot of in America, a lot of people haven't gotten much in soccer because it's mostly low scoring on the big field. So one thing they've done differently is obviously with 7v7, similar to MASL, but with bigger goals. So most likely they're going to be more goals. And one rule that they made is no game, every game has to end with a goal. So after the regulation time, let's say if the regulation time is going to be 30 minutes for a second half, if the score is going to be 7-5, they're going to add a target score of 8 goals. So the team that's behind has another chance to come back. The first one to 8 goals wins. And there will be no penalty shootouts in the group stages, or I think ever during the tournament. So there's always
Interesting.
going to be a
So
winner.
yeah, and that's not the one sport we've seen that in. The NBA All-Star Game does that in terms of setting that target score, and so
Yes,
you're always going to end on a made basket.
correct. That's same concept here. So if team's winning 5-0, target score is going to be 6.
That's really interesting, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun and very TV friendly. Now, tell us about this brand, Villita FC. Is this something pre-existing? How did you get affiliated with this? How did this come to be?
So it's kind of a cool story. So my friend, partner, Joel Rodriguez, he first heard about this tournament, and I've been partnering with him for a few years, and he's used some of the guys from MASL in the past at these amateur tournaments around the U.S. There's a tournament every year. It's called the Mariachi Cup, which they pronounce as the Amateur World Cup for the amateur soccer players. So the guys that aren't playing the pros and are playing the amateur world. It's the best tournament in the U.S. Grand prize is over $100,000, and so Joel, for the past 3 years, he's probably been in top 4 teams. And last year, uh, Joel's team, Atletico Vita, that I've also helped out with that organization a lot, won the tournament. So when TST formed, they reached out to Mariachi Cup and wanted a team from the Mariachi Cup to be a part of it. Joel's team is the reigning champions, so that's how we got a chance to get in the tournament with so many teams applying. At that
Fascinating.
time, we reached out. Joel's like, well, we'll need some more support from the indoor guys, and we decided to reach out to the best team in the world at indoor soccer, and we decided to reach out to Phil and his team, the San Diego Sockers. So I also have a team that we go to these smaller tournaments as well called FAS Racing, um, and we won several of these little soccer tournaments, smaller ones, and we decided to put all of it together and form a new team just for this tournament that's hopefully going to repeat every year. As you can tell, our logo is a lot similar to the soccer's logo. So we combined the 3 logos to come up with one logo, one team. The way I look at it, and I've told Phil this from day one, this is a joint venture between the Sockers and the other teams. So it's pretty much a joint venture of bringing 3 clubs together to make one.
Incredible. And so
And
so this team will be in TST. Tell everybody when you come back. I think did we just lose you?
Oh no,
Oh no.
did we lose him?
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
There he
I'm
is.
here.
Awesome. All right. Where will the tournament be played and when?
The tournament will be June 1 through June 4th in Cary, North Carolina. And
Incredible. Okay.
yes, so but it will be broadcasted on streaming platforms and on a major cable television network they have not announced yet. But I think we
Okay.
all
So there
know who it's
will.
going to be.
Fair enough. All right. Given what you told us before,
Yes,
we can probably figure out who that might be. But that sounds so. Fans out here and fans all around the country are going to have the ability to follow Villita and follow this club all the way through the soccer tournament. And you're going to go bang, bang, bang. Maybe more than 4 matches in 4 days.
correct. Hopefully, more than 4 matches, 4 days. So the group stages are 8 groups, 4 teams in each group. 2 teams advance to the playoffs, and then it's a knockout system from there. Something similar to World Cup.
Okay. Is this going to be open to fans locally? I mean, we've got East Coast Soccer's fans too. If people wanted to come,
Yes,
it's a carry, right?
absolutely. Yes. Obviously, we want as many Sockers fans there as we can get because that's our core of our team. I mean, Phil's our head coach, Chicky's our assistant coach. Most of the players are from the Sockers. I mean, this is a joint venture with the Sockers, the way we've looked at it. And yeah, so right now there is a waiting list for tickets. Tickets are selling out like crazy on TST's website, where fans can go online and join the waiting list for tickets. Supposedly there's 17,000 tickets or 17,000 fans, I'm not sure, on the waiting list.
All right. Well, it sounds like this is going to be both exciting, super competitive, and I just want to reiterate one part. You said 32 teams, million
Hmm.
dollar prize, but second place gets nothing. This is
Nothing, yes.
winner take all. So this is going to be the ultimate in intensity in terms of every single match being fighting for that bottom dollar.
Absolutely, yes, that's what it's going to be. And then I think I've talked to some of the MASL players that are new to the MASL this season and played in these tournaments with us in the past where it gets very competitive. And when you get in that knockout stage, you don't have as much, I would say you don't have as much freedom as they do in regular season MASL. Players aren't giving you time to make that move. They're coming at you for that prize. Just like the Mariachi Cup, for over $100,000, players are playing hard to, for that prize money. So that's kind of a mix where the professionalism and the amateurism come in play of these tournaments, in my opinion.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fuji, I'm very hopeful now for a trip to North Carolina in June to be around Villita FC and to be a part of this thing because this is going to be incredibly fun. So, last thing, as Jerry's back, and before we let you go, once again, where can fans find out more information? Where can fans kind of check out the team and potentially get on that waiting list for tickets?
Yes, definitely. On all social media platforms, it's going to be FC Villita USA. That's FCVILLITA USA. Follow on Instagram or Facebook. Um, for tickets, TST.com, I believe. Let me double check that for them. 1 second. And one exciting thing that I think I talked to mentioned earlier today, TST, you can also follow TST. It's actually their website is thetournament.com. So
Yeah.
just thetournament.com. But some of the teams that are coming from around the world, like Borussia Dortmund, they announced Wolves from Premier League. So Clint Dempsey has a team in this. The U.S. women's national team has a team in this. So there's a lot of MLS teams that have a team involved. I don't know who the players they're bringing are yet, but I think Borussia Dortmund was the biggest announcement yet. I'm expecting a couple more teams from the English Premier League to be a part of this. Ryan Reynolds, I think the actor, his team Wrexham AFC, they're
Hmm.
bringing their team over here to USA to compete in this. So it's going to be an exciting tournament. Lots of big names there. And I think, honestly, with our experience with the Soccers and the small soccer, we kind of have an edge on being able to beat some of these teams.
Oh man, I'm getting excited. All right, Fuji, thank you so much, man. Really great stuff, great information. getting all of us up to speed, ready for the soccer tournament coming this June, beginning of June, in Cary, North Carolina. $1 million winner-take-all prize, and want to see our boys get our hands on that sweet pot of cash. We'll talk to you again as we get a lot closer to this, and we have the opportunity to really preview the tournament in depth. But thanks for kind of the informational go-around here today on Soccer's Overtime. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Absolutely. That's
All right.
our man Fuji right there, General Manager, Villita FC, Fuji Avdic, joining us live on Soccer's Overtime. Dude, this is going to be a wild tournament. Marlisha made a great point. Think about the pressure on the officials of that match.
That's why I jumped in. I was going to add that in there. But, yeah, the pressure on the officials is going to be ridiculous. Imagine the pressure on the players. Because, like he said, second place gets nothing. Oh, my gosh. So I had no idea. But so Klubnik Axel's in here. Team Dempsey is in here, as you mentioned. Conrad and Beasley United is in here. U.S. Women. Wrexham Red Dragons. You have Wolverhampton Wanderers, Borussia Dortmund. Charlotte FC has the team. And then there's still some more teams to be announced. So it's pretty nuts. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see. And, man. It's going to be a really good time. I'm so sad I can't make it out there. I really wish I had the funds to make it out there because this tournament's going to be wild.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll again keep you up to date with more player information. I know they officially announced Leo this week as being on the club. That's a pretty big sign for anybody. So we'll keep you up to date on this as we continue. But thanks to Fuji for getting us up to speed here. All right, let's get into MASL news. This won't be the longest segment compared to what we've done. I think last week we broke things down at great detail in terms of what could happen. And a couple things happened, Jerry, including the thing that was the most unexpected result of the year. I guess you had to figure the Sidekicks were eventually going to win a match.
Yeah.
But did you really? I mean, did you really have to believe that? They had gotten to 0-22.
I was sure they weren't. I was really sure that they weren't.
I was sure they weren't, too. Actually, they got to 0-21, losing in losing in Tacoma handily on Saturday. The two teams went back to Texas on Sunday, and the Dallas Sidekicks beat Tacoma 5-3. And last week we talked about how Tacoma was on the rise because they had 6 guaranteed points this week facing Dallas, and they dropped 3 of those points off the side of the road. So here's how this all stacks up now. This is crazy, and Kay Vibbard's right. Thursday is going to be a match. It is Tacoma at Empire, and all of a sudden this becomes big problem for the Stars. They have to pull a result here to keep themselves safe for the playoffs. And pulling a result out of Empire isn't that easy to do. Then, of course, the Stars, Jerry, finish with us. So the potential for Tacoma to have a no points weekend is there. It's very much there for the Stars. Empire, as we know, has that Tacoma match, and then they finish at Mesquite. Mesquite, which lost twice to Baltimore, they go to Chihuahua, where they will surely lose, and then they host Empire. And Monterrey finishes with Dallas's last 2 matches. So if you take Monterrey and you give them 6, you put them at 38 points. And then if you give Mesquite the win over Empire at the end of the year, you could put them at 36 points. Meaning if Empire beats Tacoma on Thursday night, that could be the push to knock the Stars all the way out of the playoffs. And it could put Tacoma into a must-result situation on Saturday against the Sockers.
Yeah, wow. That's wild. If anybody ever thought the Western Conference wasn't the best conference, look, the East is already figured out, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at it. We're done. East, figured out.
East is done. Yeah, East is done. They can jockey for position. the thing that happened last week, Milwaukee got.
Oh.
I think Milwaukee's got this thing now. As you take a look at it, they've only got the 1-point lead over Baltimore, but Baltimore only has one match remaining on their entire schedule. I got to go back and look up who they've got left. Nonetheless, while Milwaukee has the road match against us, they finish at Harrisburg. At Utica is Baltimore's last match. So not impossible for the Blast to get to first place, but I don't think very likely. I think Milwaukee will get that result at Harrisburg, and if they do, that puts them out of reach. No one can touch them. The team that I thought was going to have the chance, Jerry, was Florida, and Florida lost at home to Utica last week. It was in overtime, but nonetheless, they lost at home with Hugo Silva back in net. So for the third straight week, I'm ripping up my Eastern Conference prediction because 2 weeks ago I said it was going to be Baltimore because I thought Baltimore was going to get to the top. Last week I said I thought it was Florida because Florida was going to get to the top. Whoever finishes on top in the East is going to win the East. I'm confident of that. And right now I think it's going to be Milwaukee. So now I'm starting to think Soccer's wave for the final.
Yeah. Imagine, though, if Milwaukee loses to Harrisburg and us and Baltimore wins.
Well, then you got to go through the baby arena. I don't want to go to the basketball court. Sockers have won on the basketball court. They won twice there last year. So, they can take it out on the hard court. Nonetheless.
I said that because I know Kelsey's in the chat. I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
There she is.
Just tweaking. Why are you tweaking noses like that, man? So that's the situation. Those are the important matches this week. And Thursday really is, here in the West, an ultimate showdown match. Now, what do I think is going to happen? I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think Mesquite's going to lose out. I mean, I do. But the one game that's kind of the weird one is that Saturday match at Mesquite. Because, honestly, if Empire pulls a result, Jerry, Thursday, they'll have third place locked up. They can't go any higher than third. They can't go any lower. They don't have a reason to bring their team to Mesquite on Saturday. That could be a game that they play DeLima and, play a kind of a rookie lineup to get fresh for the playoffs. And that could open the door for Mesquite to get those 3 points. But if I'm betting a Monterrey-Tacoma play-in game. But Mesquite still has that kind of low percentage chance to sneak in. And so much of it depends on Thursday's result at Toyota Arena.
Yeah. Eddie Bear saying that the Stars will surprise Empire with their congeniality.
Okay. They're gonna congenially defeat Empire.
Yeah.
You're gonna shock them with their chivalry.
Oh man.
And Eddie Bear also has another good point. Mesquite's win against the Sockers was their championship game. They've completely left the pitch. I mean, honestly, Mesquite's form is so poor. It's so poor. It's one of the worst forms in the whole league right now. And the only thing that gets me about that place, it's the arena. I feel like they have such an advantage with that terrible field, the bouncy, bumpy field, the low walls, no glass, balls hopping over the glass all the time, balls hopping over the short fence all the time, stops and starts. It's an ugly game in Mesquite. It's unattractive in every sense. The arena isn't attractive. The crowds are small. The field is bumpy. It's dim. And it just leads to ugly games. And Mesquite has won ugly games. They just almost beat Baltimore in a super ugly game at home. So it's rough. I don't know. I don't think they're going to win a match, but if they do, it would be kind of a bummer for Tacoma not to make the playoffs, seeing as they've got the MVP of the league, huh, Jerry?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he still does get the MVP award.
Oh, he'll
and
win.
Not make it into the playoffs.
No, he's going to win. I know it. That's why we did 10 minutes on why Boris should be MVP, because I want that. I want that in the public record on the show of record.
On the
in
show
the
of record.
MASL.
That's right.
All right, let's get to soccer's news. Big tip of the cap to Eddie Velez. El Vaquero had knee surgery this past weekend. El Vaquero is going to miss the remainder of the year. He played for 2 years, Jerry, with a tear in his knee. And it got to the point this year where he couldn't even really get through a practice without things happening. But Eddie not hanging up the boots and rehabbing to make another go next season. And I just want to give all the credit in the world to Eddie Velez, an all-time soccer, a classic soccer, a 5-time champion, I believe, and a guy that we can't wait to see out there on the training floor once again next season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him and get better soon. And kudos also to our trainer Paul Savage for taking care of him, as well as Olympus Wellness, who has done a fantastic job of making sure to help him through this recovery pretty quickly. And I know that they've posted I think Eddie posted some pictures of huge bruise after his surgery. And from what I understand, I was talking to Anne Marie, and she was saying that he's doing great, for the type of surgery that he had and the amount of time that now he has to go through, that he's just determined to make his way back as soon as possible. And so they're doing everything that they can. So kudos to the entire team. And Eddie, hope you get better soon, man.
Yeah, you can follow him, Vaquero Velez, on Instagram. Send him a message. Show him some love. Show him some support. That Sockers fans are behind him as he tries to work his way back from knee surgery. So big shout out to El Vaquero. Playoff tickets are on sale for the general public now, Jerry. They went on sale Monday at 10 a.m. You can buy single game tickets, or you can buy strips for all 3 rounds of the playoffs, and we invite you to do so. Of course, we don't know for sure our dates. We know which dates the arena has for us. I'm going to tell you right now, man, we had a staff meeting today where I heard some of the possible permutations, and it left me just doing face palms and tossing my hat, throwing my book up in the air. Like, this play-in game is messing everything up. From a scheduling standpoint, this play-in game is messing everything up. And I'm not going to give it out, but there are very realistic playoff permutations that will force our first round to potentially take as long as 3 weeks to conclude. If the dominoes fall just the wrong way, there are clubs in our league in the playoffs that have absolutely no dates for like 2 weeks at home. And you are right, K. Vibber. Disney on Ice is on tour. Disney on Ice is on tour. And it's so disappointing from a front office standpoint, because we're trying to plot and plan, and we get dates, and we're thinking, okay, this week is this round, and the next week is the next round, and it could be completely different. This league could end.
I found a picture of you. I found a picture of you in the meeting. Let me see if I can drop it off. There we go.
That's literally, that was me. You got it.
Yeah.
That's it. That the photographer was on it for the candid photo right there. Because I mean, there's a scenario by which this season is over next month, and there's a scenario in which it digs into May. And like it digs a couple weeks into May. And I don't think any of us really want that, but that's possible. So just stay tuned. Please be patient, Sockers fans. But you can reserve those tickets. We'll let you know when they're going to be. Go to 866-799-GOAL. Give Spencer or Ezra or Sonora a call. Go to stsockers.com. Also, we will have Thursday at the match for season ticket members who have not renewed or their playoff tickets yet, who have not purchased their playoff tickets yet. We will have a table right next to not that table. I threw that one over. We will have a table right next to the merchandise booth for you to pick up your tickets to lock in your playoff tickets. So stay tuned for that. Double play night Thursday, 7:35 p.m. Soccer's in Milwaukee Wave. Possible Ron Newman Cup Finals preview. $10 GA tickets. Free parking. Dress in your Padres gear. Stay in it. Let's hope it doesn't rain on our heads all day Thursday. But hoping for a huge day in San Diego sports on both Thursday and Saturday. And in this case, double play night on Thursday. Saturday night, fan appreciation night, 7:05 p.m. Soccer's in Tacoma Stars. We will have a fan fest in the parking lot from 5 to 7. We've got a lot of cool things happening out in the parking lot, so come a little early. Enjoy some food and bev. Enjoy some action out in the parking lot. Then come on in. $4 Bud Lights on Saturday. Lords of Indoor t-shirt to the first 1,500 fans that come through the gates. Lots of other surprises over the course of the night as well. So that is Saturday. And, of course, Jerry, we are hoping for a huge sports weekend because Saturday is also Final Four day. And, of course, the Aztecs are in the Final Four. That game will be over before our game starts. So why not do a double, Why not do a double Thursday? Why not do a double Saturday? And come on out. I don't. S. Barber says, show the T-shirt. I know we put one up on social earlier today, Jerry, but I don't know if you have that graphic. I don't think you do. Season ticket member renewals are going out Friday. Season ticket renewals are going out Friday. And for our great season ticket members, we're doing this again. We're going to have 3 different opportunities for you to commit early and get a chance to participate in an opportunity drawing. So the first one is this weekend. If you renew your season tickets for 2023-24 by Sunday, you'll be entered into an opportunity drawing. Hang on, I got to move forward in my notebook again. In which several prizes are available, including a signed alumni jersey, a customized player jersey, a VIP experience for 2023-24, and more. So sign up now, sign up early. We will once again have a table up on Saturday at the match for season ticket members to be able to commit right there in person. And as a result, if you do that by Sunday, you get into this first round of opportunity drawing. Which brings me to the last note. It's an important note, and it's one that I see is already somehow dribbling into the chat, but it is true. Let's talk about it, Jerry. It's going to be one more run in 2023-24. One more magical season to honor the incredible history of the San Diego Sockers at their time-honored home, Pechanga Arena, San Diego. You might notice that this season we haven't done any arena nostalgic type content, either on socials or in matches. This was always the intent for this to be the final regular season at Pechanga Arena. And guess what happened, gang? It rained. And then it rained. And then it rained. And then it rained. And then it rained again. And then it rained again. And then it rained again. And
okay, we get it. And then
dude,
it rained
it's
again.
still a mud pit. It's still a mud pit. Sean sent us pictures from Front Wave Arena. He was down there yesterday. And it's still a mud pit. Like, honest to goodness, it needs to be dry for them to be able to build the arena properly so it doesn't sink into the earth, later, right? You need to be built on a firm foundation. You've heard that, right?
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah,
we don't want it to
so
sink.
It's got to be dry for them to build. And I'm not even kidding you that like 4, 5, 6 times in these first 3 months of 2023, they've gotten within a day of being able to resume construction, and it's poured again. And guess what's going to happen tomorrow?
It's going to rain.
It's going to rain. It's going to rain again. So the club is going to play one more full season at Pechanga Arena. The 2023-24 season will be played in full at Pechanga Arena. We'll say that right now. Is there a shoot-the-moon chance that we could play the playoffs or one game at the end of the year at Front Wave Arena? There is. Things could pick up and construction. But right now they're talking first quarter 2024, when originally it was the last quarter of 2023 that they expected the arena to be finished and turned over to management. So now, next year, Jerry, time for one more run. One more run, one more glorious run at Pechanga Arena, one more time to capture the memories, to truly honor everything that has happened in our great past down on the Midway. One more run at Pechanga 2023-24.
And I said I didn't like the way he got.
This is perfect background music while you were talking about this. But, hey, we get one more shot at it, and we're going to make sure we do a proper farewell to the arena. So that's the positive of it. I know many people are probably not super happy, but, hey, things happen, and we have to roll with the punches, right? So
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, every construction project I've ever seen in my life, with the possible exception of Snapdragon Stadium, has gone a little bit longer than anticipated. I give those dudes credit because, I mean, even though it looks still like it was just plopped into the desert, Snapdragon Stadium was built on time. So it's a great, it's legitimately a great facility. And we expect we're going to have a great facility as well. I think it's going to be something that we're going to be proud of and that we'll be in for decades. And for some people, and I see Keith in the chat, for some people, this is just great news because they didn't want to drive up to Oceanside. We know there's a percentage of fans that want to stay at the arena and are going to leave when we leave the arena. And for all y'all, it's great news. For everybody in North County, it's kind of a bummer. You know, it's kind of a drag. So nonetheless, we persevere. You know, it would be a much worse situation if it was something else. You know, it's rain. It's rain. It's not supposed to rain this much in San Diego, and it has, and it's really slowed us down. It's pretty much just screwed the last 2 months for San Diego. So there it is. There's the announcement. It's official. That'll be going out as well in the season ticket member renewal notice on Friday. So for those who didn't catch the show, you'll find out that way. Nonetheless, situation is what it is. One more year. And from a marketing, promotions, and history standpoint, I'm excited that next year we can really lean into that nostalgia, Jerry. We can lean into the history of it. And for the final regular season game, we can have a closing ceremony. You know, we can kind of put a bow on this thing and then hopefully end it with another championship and truly wrap it in the Midway the right way. But we've got a lot of work to do between now and then. We've got another cup in between that we're going to have to decide.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap things up. I got to go to the Kids Scout of Honor, but we've got 2 matches this weekend, Thursday and Saturday. Wave, it's going to be interesting. You know, I think that's going to be a fun one. I think there's going to be a lot of fans hoping Milwaukee comes in and beats San Diego and creates one little peg on the pegboard that everyone can hang their hook on for the finals.
Yeah.
To be like, well, Milwaukee went to San Diego and won, therefore the Wave are the favorites. You know, we can see a change in the power rankings next week.
Yeah, well, I mean, Milwaukee is the only team. Well, no, actually, Baltimore. Milwaukee and Baltimore right now are tied with the 3-game winning streak for the highest winning streak if it wasn't for San Diego in the West with 8-game winning streak. So, yeah, I think if anybody can do it, and especially if we do decide, if Phil does this, I say if we do decide it, like we do anything.
Well, I already decided.
You already decided, but if whatever Phil decides to do, you know, there's that possibility that Kelsey doesn't get to see Boris, and so I'm sure she'll be very happy Milwaukee gets a win, right? That's what going to be the result of that. No, not going to happen. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see this game. I think Milwaukee's going to come with everything they need it. Not completely, but I'm sure they don't want to have to rely on a second game. They'd rather take it, you know, sooner than later. So we'll see how what the game turns out to be against a very good Milwaukee team. I have to say, I think, you know, past MVP of the league is there. I'm assuming he's coming. I'm sure he's in good health and 100%. So it'll be good to see, him and Ian Bennett, of course, is what I'm talking about. And we'll see what the Sockers bring, man. I think, we don't expect anything else but the best, and they're always what they expect of themselves as well. So I'm sure it's going to be a fun match.
I'm sure it will too. Saturday, Tacoma, we talked about it in MASL News. We don't really have to dig into it any further, but depending what happens Thursday, that's either going to be kind of meaningless for both teams, or it's going to be everything on the line for the Stars. And they, I believe, should know the Mesquite result at least by halftime or the first quarter of our match. So everything should be crystal clear pretty early into our match in terms of what needs to happen and whether or not Tacoma's going to get in, whether or not it's going to be a Mesquite-Monterrey play-in, whether it's going to be a Monterrey-Tacoma, or whether it's going to be a Tacoma-Mesquite play-in. All three are still potentially viable.
Everybody's saying go Stars. So Outlaws Chihuahua game starts at 7 o'clock. Ours starts at 7:35. So, yeah, right around probably maybe the half. We'll get a better idea of where that's going to end up.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the first one. I'm not worried about that one. Mesquite's going to get killed in Chihuahua. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm talking about Saturday.
You're talking about Saturday.
talking about-
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Saturday when Mesquite hosts Empire. Listen,
That's fair.
that Thursday match, would you like to write the score down? What would you like the score to be? Would you like it to be 11-1? Would you
Is
like
this-
it to be
is this one of those-
7-0?
Is this one of those write a score games?
This is a write the score game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mesquite is absolute basura on the road right now. And their only chance is to play on the lumpy, bumpy field with all the stupid bounces and get away with it. That is it, man. That is it. The lumpy, bumpy field and the baby ballpark. Those are my two that I always like to pick on. All right, man. Show's over. Let's go,
We're done.
Sockers. Final two regular season results. When we get together next week, ain't no more happy grins. It's gonna be win or trouble time the rest of the year. So let's
I need
enjoy
to-
this while we can.
I need to add the playoffs thing in the sound into my board by next. Thanks for the reminder by the next podcast. So, yeah, I was a good time, sir. It was great to be here with everybody. This was awesome.
Want to thank Fuji from Villita FC for joining us and giving us all the breakdown on the soccer tournament. Want to thank all of our great Sockers fans around the country for joining us here live on twitch.tv/San Diego Sockers. On the way out, if you haven't, click that little follow button. You'll be notified every time we go live. Oh, one other note, Spanish language broadcast Saturday for Sockers in Tacoma with Tony and Chiva right here on our @San Diego Sockers Twitch channel, and they will be on for every home playoff match throughout the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. So definitely follow us here because you're going to get live playoff play-by-play in Espanol right here. For Jerry Jimenez, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks to you for joining us for this edition of Soccer's Overtime. Pardo for MVP. Jerry, what?
Pardo for MVP, and also Leo, my hometown. When are we getting that on YouTube, Craig? Should we do that Thursday? I think
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
close enough. Thursday
Absolutely. Let's post it.
on YouTube. Go check it out.
Sounds good.
Leo's my hometown. That's it. Sorry.
Coming your way soon. Until then, I'm Craig Elston. Enjoy all the action, everyone. We'll see you at Pechanga Arena Thursday and Saturday, and then we'll see you right back here next Tuesday for Soccer's Overtime. Have a great one, and go Sockers.
Eu nasci em uma cidade de Rio de Janeiro chamada Petrópolis. É uma cidade imperial, onde é governada por um príncipe. Bom, acho que toda a parte do Brasil e muito na minha cidade também é chamado a festa, né? São 7 dias de festa, é o carnaval, onde para por 7 dias e são 7 dias de festa, dia e noite.